So the Bulldogs went into New Mexico, and it was a series that if they wanted to be in the top two in May in the Mountain West tournament in Arizona, they had to win. Now, they did not do that. They lost the series two with a tie. I'll explain how they can get a tie in New Mexico in a moment, but this is a series that they had to have, they needed to have, and it was a very winnable series. I guess you could say in one sense that they only had one game for sure. They should have won against Nevada, or they had two games they would have should have won for sure at New Mexico. And the conditions there were as well as you could expect. The winds were not crazy there. Part of that is they didn't play on Friday, which I guess the winds were nuts. But the size that big, you naturally are going to have pop ups turn into doubles, base hits, go all the way wall, turn into triples, so forth. So just from the size of the ballpark. But in terms of everything else, it was about as good as you could hope for, especially if you were a pitcher. But the Bulldogs could not get a win, and now they're not out of the running to make the field. You have to be in the top six to do so. They have plenty of chances to do that, especially this upcoming Easter weekend, which I want to remind everybody right now, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday before Easter in the Mountain West, and I think across the country. So if you want to support the Bulldogs, go there. I'll recap that at the end. But in Game 1, they lost 9-8 on a walk-off fashion. Again, top of the ninth, the Bulldogs are down 8-5. They managed to get 3 runs, and a theme is that the pitcher gives up a run after the offense really does help them out. And the pitching performance in Game 1 was actually not, well, it wasn't good, but it was tolerable. I mean, you've seen worse. Drew Townsend got the start on Friday. They went back to him. Patrick had been doing the job, so they went back to him. He went 5 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, walked 3. I mean, I've seen worse from better pitchers. I've seen Jack Anker. I've seen Eshawn Henderson. I've seen guys who got drafted relatively high and have worse days than Townsend did. So he did not perform poorly. Wyatt Thornberry came in, went 202 for his innings. He gave up 0 runs earned. And Paige Allen, of course, gave up a walk-off home run. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you play that type of game there. The Bulldogs fielding, New Mexico had 2 errors. Bulldogs had 1 that first game. Bulldogs had 12 hits to New Mexico's 9. So this is what I mean when I say the Bulldogs should have won that game. They just, the pitching just continues to let them down, and I think they're starting to feel it. I'll get to that moment, but again, the real difference in that game was Khalil Walker, and I just want to say right now, the amount of players that New Mexico has who are 23-25 because of court rulings and this and that, it's pretty darn pathetic. I mean, do you really want to be a 25-year-old and play in college? I mean, don't you have any damn pride to just move on with your life at some point? I mean, the Bulldogs really don't have that problem in baseball. All of our guys who would hang around that long usually get drafted or get signed as free agency. I mean, we do pretty good at getting guys long in the program. You know what I'm saying? Like getting pro prospects somewhere. I mean, even Grady Morgan is playing banana ball. So I guess New Mexico really does it. It was a back and forth game. Bulldogs had a 1-0 lead over them. Then New Mexico 3-1 on a homer, unearned because of an error earlier. Guy calls, it was just a back and forth game that the pitching just really could not get a handle on. And I think this team is really starting to feel it. I think that this team is now in the feeling of we are going to be let down by the pitching. In Game 2, they only scored 2 runs. How on earth right afterwards, how on earth you can only score 2 runs in New Mexico? It's just a mind mystery to me. The only explanation I have is that they were emotionally let down again by the defense. By the pitching, excuse me. And I can't blame them. It's been numerous pitches all throughout this since Stanford. It's been offense gets us tied or lead, and then right afterwards, the pitching blows it. And that's really been the problem with this team. And this team is going to win. It's obvious now they're going to have to apply the altitude style of winning. And what does that mean? It means outslugging the other team, like we saw Nevada do against Fresno State in the first conference series. Nevada didn't pitch great in that game, but they got enough hits to win. I'm not going to go over the standings yet for what the Mountain West is. I'll do that after the third series where 1/3 of the schedule is done. There's only 27 games played once every year. So So how come would there be a game tie in New Mexico? And well, I'll tell you how. First and foremost, I gotta give a shout out to Marcus Nolan. He has special type power that gets you as a freshman. It gets you drafted relatively high by the Pittsburgh Pirates, so it makes you a free-time AL MVP. I mean, he's got the goods. Yes, I mean, so many of these freshmen are talented. I mean, Brady Hewitt and Mikey Boyd, another guy, is Mikey Pickett. So many position players. If only we could get these damn pitchers fixed up this year. I'm not worried about the long-term future. I'm not worried about that at all. If we got to take... I mean, it is disappointing if you don't even make the Mountain title game. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what the Bulldogs should be every year, even if they don't win it. And as we saw against Nevada and New Mexico, it's really just been their own mistakes and shooting themselves in the foot. That's been bad. But let me just recap this game for you at the end of the time. The Bulldogs went through a lot more pitchers, but so did Mexico. Vic Arreola got the start, gave 3 runs. BJ Rodriguez came in, went 3 innings, gave up 1 run. Weston Forberry and Doug Christo, they only went 1 inning combined and gave up 9 runs. I mean, you got to have... It's just different players and guys who are upperclassmen like Christo. Even if he's not his first year in the program, he was at a junior college last year. He can't pitch like a freshman. He has to pitch like an experienced guy. All right? And they're not getting that from the from the pitching. They're just not. Will Page Allen came in after that. He previously pitched at a junior college. Thornberry, I think, let me check here. I'm not sure. Let me check. Yeah, Thornberry's a freshman. So, again, when you score 18 runs, you should win. I don't care where you're at. I don't care. Even in New Mexico, you should win. I mean, it was a ball game that just... I mean, they should have won this numerous times. Should have done so, okay? They had to lead numerous times. They were down 5-1 after the third. Then after the fourth, they were up 9-7. Then they gave up 5 runs in the fifth and 4 runs in the sixth, and then 1-1 in the eighth. I mean, it was just ridiculous what they were giving up. And I'm thinking to myself, really? There's no wind out there. I mean, some of it. There was also a play here. I don't want to forget this one right now. That to me sums up the entire season. That was Cam Schneider when he had men on the bases. Dogs it on a pop-up. He cannot do that. He is an upperclassman. In that ballpark, you run on every play, no matter if it's a pop-up, because it might just fall, even if it's not. Okay? And he knew he screwed up. He had his head set like this after that, and the coaches took him out for the rest of the game, which I applaud. I'm really happy they took him out for the rest of the game. They need to be more disciplinary like that. Start really, when these players aren't performing, take them out. You know what I mean? And excuse the light here. I'm just reading the stats off that device here. Make sure I get this right. But I've heard leftists say that could decide the game, but really there were moments as well. I mean, yeah, the Bulldogs left men on, but when you score 18 runs, I don't care where you are. You should win. You know what I'm saying? And if not for a dive ball 10 at the bottom of the 10th, they could have lost. But the reason they didn't lose and then the tie was because there was a travel curfew. The Bulldogs and them had agreed at a certain later time that the game would end tie so the Bulldogs could leave. That's only happened once before in 2019, and that happened when the Lobos were in Fresno. So I guess if you're a Bulldog fan, you can look at it as a good omen and say, oh, well, it happened in 2019. Last time that happened, we were 1 win away from going to the Super Regionals. Against Stanford, should have won that one. Maybe. But it's incredibly frustrating when you continue to see this. Now, Leffler is claiming that the toughest part of the Mountain West schedule is over. You hosted Nevada, who I've watched them in other games. I've tried to watch as many Mountain West games, and I just look at them and say, oh, the Bulldogs should have at least gotten one off them. They are not that much better than New Mexico. I mean, they cannot pitch. Okay? Yes, New Mexico is the toughest place to play, but that's not because of the Lobos. That's because of the ballpark. All right, so I'm not really buying that whole argument that, oh, well, now they're going to get better. Now they're going to, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not in the camp of, when you hear Leffler and some of these arguments say, well, no, the toughest part, they're going to go on a run. Well, they really haven't shown it yet this year. You need to go on a run. You need to have some form of pitching, even in this conference, all right? Especially next year in Mountain West. All right, so now that it was done, what happened when they hosted Cal Poly? A team that had that number, and generally speaking, in baseball, when you have your number, you can rebound from that. Well, the Bulldogs started a guy who had not played yet. He actually hadn't pitched in high school, Eric Rico. And I'm happy that we got a new pitcher in there. All right? I'm really happy about that. I wanted to see more guys get opportunities because nobody in the pitching staff has seized the moment. All right? Now, this guy, he actually was injured last year from Visalia. Rico only gave up 2 runs in the 2 innings he pitched. You know, I thought he pitched all right. I mean, there were a couple here and there, but that's just going to happen in baseball. You know, that's just going to happen. Some guys are going to score, whatever, you know. That was real. And then Moose Corleo came in. He had a couple bases loaded situations and only come out 1 run, which pitched free in the first. You know, okay, whatever, fine. The real difference in this ball game was the fielding. I mean, the Bulldogs had 1 error, but they could have easily had 3. I mean, I don't know how many errors they led to for the Mustangs. I'm going to say at least 3. It felt like every time the Bulldogs kept coming back that they would make a mistake somewhere. And that really has, again, it's a broken record, but the theme is there. They keep making mistakes that they should not be making. Schneider did not play at all in this game. I think the coach was punishing him. I think maybe they needed to do the same with Munster. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's making mistakes that he cannot make at first base for his team. He has to make them. Obviously, the thing where you need to keep his back, okay, move him to DH. Put Sotomayor back there at first base if you have to. But some guys have got to stop being punished for making mistakes, especially upperclassmen. You don't have a margin for error now. You have to kick them in the butt now as coaches, I think. I think you have to punish them when they're not performing at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys have not earned the benefit of the doubt like when the team last year were making mistakes, or even in 2024. So, yeah, the Bulldogs are now on they've lost 3 out of the last 4. I mean, the hosts in Grand Canyon this weekend, they're not good. They are like the Bulldogs winless in the Mountain West, so you have to at least get a win. If you don't get a win here, that's all she wrote as far as I'm concerned. I think emotionally you can detach yourself from this team having prospects of winning anything. All right? I mean, you still support Fresno State, you still support this and that, but you would be in a pretty big hole to try and climb yourself out of. You've got to win this series. You go to Air Force next week. Again, Air Force, I believe, is right around the top 3 teams in the Mountain West, and that's another tough place to play. So, gotta win this week. You have to. And again, I'm not asking for a sweep. I think that's just not realistic, but a series win has to get done. Just has to, all right? You have to build some sort of positive momentum as well. So, we'll see what goes on this week. Hopefully we'll get a pitcher back. I know that they're saying Gavin Keesian and Blanca Hines could be back soon. That would help the pitching rotation. Keesian's back for a while, and Hines had appendicitis. I had that. It's not fun. But we need this baseball program to carry us through. I mean, there's no reason for the Bulldogs not to be competitive every year in the pack. I know Tom Goodwin's trying to start his own program up. Maybe I can make a link. Maybe I can find it and post it in here. And a description page about what he's talking about if you want to try and support the program, if you're a baseball fan. But big weekend for the Easter weekend for the Dogs. Again, it's Thursday at 6, Friday at 6, and Saturday at noon because of the Easter holiday. So if you could go out and support the Dogs, it'd be a real big help. We'll see what happens. Always root for the win. But for now, go Fresno State.